All right, so the routing on the wing is pretty straightforward, and this is something that we won't normally be touching, but in the interest of helping you to kind of visualize the signal path, I want to show you how the routing works here. Every soundboard has inputs. This one has inputs as well, and we've gone over those. What we're going to be looking at routing is actually going to be sources. So sources, you can see that up here, is what our inputs are. We have different source groups. So the AS50, you can see down here, that's our stage box, image or stage box. So that's all of the sources that are coming through on the AS50A port in this board. We've got all of these here. We've also got our local sources. So these are all the sources that are plugged in the inputs on the back of this board. Those are local to the soundboard. They're right here within reach. We've got aux inputs as sources as well. Those are the instrument cable inputs on the back of this board. The way this is set up is that we can look at all of these sources and we can make sure that they're all set up the way we want. We can add names, we can add icons and colors, we can add images, and so we can set up all of our sources. So you can see we've got aux guitar, violin, electric, all of these. Bass is right there. We've got our green mic, red mic, yellow mic, and blue mic down here, 25 through 28. So these are all of our sources. We've got these set up already coming from the stage box, and then also our local input sources. We've also got Dante in. So we've got Mac Audio coming in Dante on 31 with the left channel and 32 on the right channel. So that's another source from a specific source group type, that like Dante. So what are we going to do with this? We've got all of these input sources, and we want to put those in different places on the soundboard. So you can see we've got all of our faders set up. We've got 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 25 through 36, 37 through 40, and then our aux inputs. What we want to do is assign each of these sources to a channel, and we want to do this in a way that makes sense. And so the way we do that is we hit channels here, and now it gives us on the left, it's give us all of our channels on the board itself, and then it's going to give us our source groups to pull from. So if we look at local, we can see that we've got a couple different ones here. We've got room mic, that's local 5, and you can see that room mic is routed to channel 29 on this soundboard. So if we go over to channel 29, there it is. So these are things that will always stay this way. So when we go to routing, it should be locked. You shouldn't be able to like click and change things without unlocking it. But we can look at all of these. So my mic, Brian, which is the green mic, is down here, is in the AS50 channel 25, or input 25 on the AS50, but we've routed it to channel 1. And we can look at channel 2 on the soundboard. So channel 2 is the next vocal mic. That's AES5026. This next microphone, the yellow microphone, is AES5027. So all of these are the inputs numbers on the stage box down on the stage that these are plugged into, but we're sending those sources to specific channels on this board, and they'll always stay there. So let's take a look at bass. Bass is in the stage box input 12, A12, and we've got it on channel 7 here. So that's always going to be there. This source group is physical. So a good way to think of this is that all of our sources are physical. All of our channels are just routing from those physical sources to setup that makes sense for us. But we're never going to change these channels. So 1 through 40, as seen on the board, none of these are ever going to change. We're never going to edit those. So how do we use our user groups? The user groups are going to be duplicates of those channels. So we're not editing any of this, but we can edit user 1 and user 2 so that it's not as messy. If you look at this right now, channels 1 through 12, we've got the vocal mics, we've got some instruments, we've got cajon, we've got the pastor announcement, and then on the next page we've got drums, piano, electrica 2, another guitar channel. So it's kind of messy in here. These are what we pull from, and we can duplicate some of those to user 1 and user 2. So that's how I want you to think about this, is that user 1 and user 2 are duplicates. So we can go over here and hit our fader routing button, and we can see channel 1 through 12, we can edit these, but we don't want to. We want all of these to stay the same. See how they're all laid out here, 1 through 40, and how 1 through 12 matches, 13 through 24 matches. So we don't want to change any of that. What we can change is user 1 and user 2. So right now, we've got vocal mic 1, vocal mic 2 pulled in. We've got the acoustic, we've got the aux guitar, keys, piano, bass, the baptistry mic. So these aren't in this order from our channel order, but these are in our user group custom order. So we can get rid of baptistry. We can pull it back in. And notice if we get rid of this one, so this is our second mic, when we go back to channels 1 through 2, that hasn't changed anything there. So all we really need to know is that we never want to edit channels 1 through 40 or any of these aux channels, but we can always edit to our preferences the user group. So if you have all 4 vocalists, all 4 vocal mics that are needed, you can pull those in. So these are going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're going to be routed that way down here, so you can get rid of those. You kind of want to have the vocal mics in order. That's the only thing I recommend. So they say the person's name right now. That's changed in the library once we pull that in. But right now, that is microphone 1 and microphone 2, or green mic and red mic. Then microphone 3 and 4 are yellow mic and blue mic. So we can pull those in here. You can see there. So we can change the names on these. We can change the presets, but those microphones physically are going to stay the same as routed to the channels. So we're able to do all of that without going into this routing page. We don't have to go into routing and change things and look through all of this, but we can just hit fader routing and change our user groups 1 through 2. We've got the drums. You can see here, the drums are in here in a specific order that we really like. And you can see that reflected on the soundboard in user group 2. So always make certain that you've selected user 1 or user 2, and that you've selected the correct section of faders. So we can also do this with user 1 and user 2 on the center section. So user 1 on the center section, you can see here, shows us our drums. The buses in our center section are shown here, and we can move those around. And then also on the right-hand section, we can see pastor announcement, Mac audio, and mains. And we've got user 1 over here, pastor announcement, Mac audio, mains. So that really helps us to kind of lay out the soundboard exactly how we want. But you want to make sure that you're never editing any of these channels up here, even though you can technically rearrange these. It's helpful if we're missing something to be able to go to channels 1 through 40 and search for that and know it's going to be there. In short, everything that is routed from a source is on the board somewhere. Every input that we have, every local input, every aux input, every stage box input, and all of our Dante inputs are routed here. So you can see Mac audio is routed to this channel over here. So hopefully that helps get some of the basic understanding of how we are pulling information into the soundboard, into these source groups, these input groups, either from the stage box, from the back of the soundboard, these local inputs, or these aux inputs from the back of the soundboard as well, or through these Dante inputs. So we only have the Mac audio here, but we can route up to 64 inputs to the soundboard as sources. And then all of those sources that we want to use are set up over here. You can see our aux inputs down here, and then our 1 through 40 here.